Hey everybody, I'm Kristen from Magoosh. Welcome to another episode of Tuesday CT. And today I have a pretty fun little episode in store for you. We are talking about ACT test hacks. So I'm going to share with you 4 of my favorite tips for the ACT, one for each multiple choice section that is going to magically improve your score, ideally anyway. So let's talk about English first. The FANBOYS, this is my English ACT test hack. FANBOYS is an acronym that helps you remember the 7 coordinating conjunctions. I've talked about them before in other videos, but the coordinating conjunctions are the only ones that you can use to create compound sentences. Now, why is this important to remember for the ACT? Well, because the ACT loves to test sentence structure, and there are comma splices and run-on sentences to fix all over this test. One of the favorite non-FANBOYs they like to trick you with is however. You can't use however as a conjunction to join together 2 sentences. So if you remember your FANBOYs, there's no H in there, there's no however, it's just these 7, so make sure you memorize those. All right, math. This one is a really creative, sneaky little trick, probably more officially a hack as the kids are using it these days. You can use your answer sheet to be a ruler or a protractor. All right, what do I mean by that? Let me just show you an example. So let's pretend this is your answer sheet. Because the figures on the ACT test are drawn basically to scale, they won't tell you anything's not drawn to scale. You can assume they're roughly drawn to scale as far as the ACT goes today anyway. Use your answer sheet to make yourself a little ruler. So let's say that you're trying to find the length of a segment. You can make light pencil marks. Put your answer sheet up against the test booklet. Make light pencil marks to measure out known segments. So if you've got a rectangle, for example, on one side 6, you can figure out what 6 is, put it up against the unknown side, and you can use that to help estimate if it's 8, is it 4, is it 12, based on the length of that line. You can also use the right angle of your answer sheet as a handy little protractor to put up against an angle that gives you 90 degrees, and it helps your eye better estimate how much bigger the 90 degrees or how much smaller the 90 degrees an angle is. I've actually used this trick on an official test on one of the hardest questions, and I was able to answer it without using any math at all. So try it out if you are struggling with geometry. So now let's talk about reading. Reading test prep hack for the ACT. Pay attention to the first and last sentences of paragraphs. That is because most of the important information is there. Not always, but enough of the time that this is going to help you get by on the ACT. So if you struggle with reading, you struggle with getting through the whole passage, try to pay really close attention to the first and the last sentences and kind of skim a little bit, read a little bit faster through the middle, and you are more likely to get the overall gist, the overall main idea of the passage, which is most important. Or if you read a passage and you're like, I have no idea what I just read, go back and reread the first and last paragraphs. Promise, if you try this out, it's going to help you make a lot more sense of the passage more quickly. Finally, let's talk about the science section. There is a really nasty little question, that question type that appears in the ACT science section, and I call these questions the yes, no, because questions. We actually have a whole video just about these questions on Magoosh ACT YouTube, so you should check that out for more detail. I'm just going to go through it briefly here. These questions are always set up like this in your answer choices. Yes, because X, yes, because Y, no, because X, no, because Y. This is a full explanation, and then there's like a really long question before it usually. They're really complicated and intimidating, but the rationales are repeated between the yes and the no. So first of all, forget about answering yes or no in the question and just figure out whether X or Y is true based on the charts or graphs. And a lot of times this is pretty easy to do most of the time, or a lot easier to do than answering the full question or the yes or no part. So you can go ahead and see whether X or Y or whatever that says there is true based on the passage, and you automatically cut it down to a 50-50 shot based on that. And then if you're still not sure, yes or no, you can take a guess, go back to the question, try to figure it out, but you can at least know that you have a 50-50 shot of getting this right just by answering the easy part of the question. Sometimes you can actually eliminate 3 answer choices based on the rationales, depending on what they say. So I've actually done that too on the ACT, where I haven't even figured out yes or no, didn't even worry about the question, didn't even read the question, just looked at the rationales and eliminated 3 answer choices to get to the right answer choice. So that is a sneaky little trick for the questions that tend to be really hard on the ACT science section. There are so many more ACT test prep hacks and tips that we have to offer to you on our Magoosh ACT YouTube channel and also at act.magoosh.com. We have lots of lesson videos and lots of tips to share, so if you want to learn more about the ACT and how you can conquer it, go ahead and check it out, and I will see you back here next Tuesday CT.